The president of the United States is correct 100%. 30.
Welcome to the Be Wise podcast. I'm your host, Chris Wright, where we discuss politics, entertainment, social media, and sometimes sports. And so today I want to talk about the MAGA Cabinet. So Donald Trump is picking his people. As you know, he selected Tulsi Gabbard for a role, Marco Rubio. But the two that kind of I can't get out of my brain is Matt Gaetz and Stephen Miller. And there's others. They keep coming. But I was thinking about when I was on the blue team, right? And I hated these guys. I hated Steve Bannon. I hated Stephen Miller. I just thought Stephen Miller was just like some Pee Wee Herman, white nationalist, hated all races. I know he was America first, but just didn't like him. And then Matt Gaetz had those little eyes and he looked evil and he was always arguing with people on the Senate floor. And the way he just questioned people, he talked down to people. And now, since I've switched teams, I kind of like these guys. These guys are like, they are MAGA. They have 100% support for Donald Trump. They back him. Someone called them loyalist. And Donald Trump is surrounding himself with loyalists. And that's not it at all. It's just he's surrounding himself this time with people that understand the assignment. He's surrounding himself with people who get the objective, understand MAGA, are really America first. They're not looking for publicity. They're not trying to be, they're not trying to get fame and fortune. They don't plan on writing books. And that's kind of what blindsided him last time, was the fact that he surrounded himself with all these generals and all these people who wanted to ride his coattails and get fame and fortune, write books, get millions of dollars, and basically turned on him. They didn't believe the assignment. Do I think Matt Gaetz and Stephen Miller and, Tom Homan, do I think these guys are good guys? Like, do I think they have some high moral ground? Do I think they're the kind of guys that I would invite over to dinner to meet my family? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. But you assign a running back to run the ball. These guys have an assignment. All right. I'm not a big fan of Antonio Brown, although I'm a Steelers fan, but I liked him on my team. He scored touchdowns. He caught the ball. That was his assignment. And that's kind of the way I look at politics. I don't hold any politician of some high regard that I go, only person I've ever done that with was Barack Obama. I had this love fest with him, this bromance. But politically, I didn't really care what he did. So if you turn it around, now I care about policy. I care about what the politicians do. I care about the social direction, the political direction, the direction of America. And so guys like, I'm just going to have to hold my nose and go, Matt Gaetz, you slime ball, I love you. And if you don't know Matt Gaetz, first of all, he was also investigated for trafficking and also having a relationship with a 17-year-old girl, la-di-da-di. And guess what? At the end of all these investigations, he was never charged with anything. He was exonerated time after time. It reminds me of the show House of Cards. I think it was the Pennsylvania governor. His name was Peter Russo. They basically set him up. He was an alcoholic, drug addict, and they know they can manipulate him. So they got him connected with prostitution, sent him to AA. It was all in the media. But when you got a guy like that who's morally weak, has some problems, you can use them in politics. And you have to wonder, is this a Matt Gaetz kind of situation where people know things about him, can hold things over his head, and make him do things that he's not always willing to do? It is so easy to plant stories. And I'm sorry, I am a conspiracy theorist. I do believe in MK Ultra. I believe in all of the things that like Candace Owens talks about, how CIA sets things up, FBI sets things up, how you can defame and frame people. I know I'm a conspiracy theorist. That's okay. But I really wouldn't put it past anybody in any, I don't know, deep state organization to set people up, to give you bad media and bad press. So I don't know. I don't know what, I'm not saying Matt Gaetz is innocent. I'm also not saying that Matt Gaetz is guilty. I'm just saying that it is plausible that they're dangling something over his head. You need to do this. You need to be loyal. You need to be this way. Otherwise, we will create stories for you. We will get you in trouble with the law. That 17-year-old girl could have been planted. We just don't know. Ever since JFK and the grassy knoll and the Cubans and the Russians and all these people were involved in the assassination, all the chaos and J. Edgar Hoover stuff that went on in the FBI and all of the CIA stuff that goes on. There's tons and tons of books about how not above board our country can be. And I love America. And sometimes they do things in the name of national security. But if you don't know Matt Gaetz, let's take a look at a couple highlights.
Concept of sex charges against me was really just a way to try to bleed my family out of money and probably smear my name because I am a well-known, outspoken conservative, and I guess that's out of style in a lot of parts of the country right now. If at this time next week, Kevin McCarthy is still Speaker of the House, it will be because the Democrats bailed him out and he can be their Speaker, not mine.
And I'll give you the truth why I'm not Speaker. It's because one person, a member of Congress, wanted me to stop an ethics complaint because he slept with a 17-year-old.
What night are you speaking? Are you speaking tonight? Maybe we would be better at them if the National Defense University actually worked a little more on strategy and a little less on wokeism.
Has it occurred to you that Russia has not overrun Ukraine because of what we've done?
I'm sorry, is this the Global Times from China?
No, this is, well,
That's what you read.
yeah, it might be. Yeah, would that be a reason?
As a general matter, I don't take Beijing's propaganda.
No, yeah, but just tell me if
The Second Amendment is about maintaining within the citizenry the ability to maintain an armed rebellion against a tyrannical government if necessary.
So yeah, he's not liked by a lot of people in Washington. He's not liked by a lot of Republicans, but he's loved by MAGA. Yeah, you know, there is a difference. So he talked about the sexual assault allegations, all the things with the 17-year-old, et cetera. And he said they were trumped up charges and they were made up. I think at this point, he's being told to shut up, but that's Trump's guy because he knows that he's a loyalist. And he also knows that he can control him. Remember Attorney General Jeff Sessions? How he was such a great guy. Donald Trump loved him and supported him. And then next thing you know, he's disappeared. Where's Jeff Sessions? Because he was no longer loyal. So here's some things that that was in the news. Just so you know, I want to be fair. I'm going to give a fair and balanced report on MAGA Cabinet. And like I mentioned, Tulsi Gabbard, I have nothing bad to say about her. Marco Rubio, I have nothing bad to say about him. I think the guy's name Mike Waltz, nothing. Just keep him coming. Keep him coming. I will talk separately in a different show about the new department called DOGE, Department of Government Efficiency, with Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy, but not today. It's for another day. I want to dig deeper into it so I can come back with a full report. But this was the television report. This is on ABC, and they talked about the Matt Gaetz investigation.
Washington and new developments in an ethics investigation into Florida Congressman Matt Gaetz. The House Ethics Committee has released a statement on the probe into a number of serious allegations, including sexual misconduct. Rachel Scott is on Capitol Hill with the exclusive details. Good morning, Rachel.
Hey, Rebecca, good morning to you. Yes, this is a rare and unusually detailed statement from the House Ethics Committee, making it clear that it's still looking into Florida Republican Congressman Matt Gaetz. And it comes as ABC News learns new exclusive details about what witnesses told the committee.
This morning, Florida Congressman Matt Gaetz is under investigation. The House Ethics Committee revealing that it is continuing to probe Gaetz over explosive allegations, including that he engaged in sexual misconduct and illicit drug use, accepted improper gifts, and that he sought to obstruct government investigations of his conduct. Sources tell ABC News the committee has interviewed at least a half a dozen women who allegedly attended parties where the Florida congressman was also present and who were paid by Gaetz' one-time close friend Joel Greenberg, who pleaded guilty to wire fraud and sex trafficking a minor. ABC News learning the committee has obtained Gaetz' Venmo records. Sources say one woman testified that a Venmo payment from Gaetz was for sex. Others saying they were paid to attend parties with Gaetz that featured drugs. The Republican lawmaker and close ally of Donald Trump has denied all the allegations against him. In a tweet Monday, Gaetz saying in part, "Every investigation into me ends the same way, my exoneration." But last year, the federal government informed Gaetz it was declining to bring charges, allowing the committee's probe to now resume.
The House Ethics Committee declined to comment on our new reporting. In a separate statement, the committee says that it's no longer pursuing allegations that the Florida congressman shared inappropriate videos on the House floor or misused state identification records. If investigators on the committee do find any evidence of wrongdoing, it can recommend for the full House to take action, including censure or expulsion.
So, you know what puzzles me about this? Would you consider those allegations crimes? Like, would you consider pedophilia, trafficking of a 17-year-old girl, Venmo payments to prostitutes? Would you consider those crimes? I consider those crimes. And what amazes me about Washington is how they can keep things internal. Okay, so in the drug dealer world, in the mafia world, in the drug dealer world, they like to set up their own internal source of justice. Like, no, we don't go to the cops. We handle these situations ourselves. So if there's one drug cartel or one drug kingpin and his people are robbed and all his drugs are stolen, all the money stolen, they don't go to the cops and say we were robbed. they handle it internally, right? It seems in Washington, they do the same thing. Like, you got all these, I don't know, illegal things going on, trafficking, pedophilia, whatever, corruption of a minor. And Washington says, no, we don't want to get the FBI involved. We don't want it to get the police involved. We'll handle it. We'll investigate it. And then no wonder people are exonerated or things are just brushed under the rug, because this just seems to be a different type of justice in Washington. I don't know. I just find that to be kind of bizarre. Here was a CNN report.
We just got a rare and rather unusual statement from the House Ethics Committee about its investigation into Florida Congressman Matt Gaetz. While the 3-year probe into possible sexual misconduct and drug use, among other things, is still going strong, it looks like he may be off the hook for bribery and sharing inappropriate images or videos on the House floor. I want to read you part of the statement that just came out. There has been a significant and unusual amount of public reporting on the committee's activities this Congress. Much of that reporting has been inaccurate. Based on its review to date, the committee has determined that certain of the allegations merit continued review. During the course of its investigation, the committee has also identified additional allegations that merit review. Accordingly, the committee is reviewing allegations that Representative Matt Gaetz may have engaged in sexual misconduct and illicit drug use, accepted improper gifts, dispensed special privileges and favors to individuals with whom he had a personal relationship, and sought to obstruct government investigations of his conduct.
So, yeah, it's all there. if that was a regular citizen, if that was me, if that was you, I think the police would be knocking at your door saying, hey, you're under arrest for drug use, possession of drugs, inappropriate behavior with a minor, pedophilia, whatever. I mean, there's all types of crimes that are alleged. And yes, we're in a country of guilty until proven innocent, but people are arrested in Washington. That just doesn't seem to be the case. So anyway, that doesn't make him a bad politician. That just makes him an immoral human being, if all those things are true. But like I said earlier, I do not put it past departments, organizations, deep state, to basically put things on people so that you can control them. Jason Whitlock talks a lot about his career and his success or lack thereof, why he's not a Stephen A. Smith, why he's not a Skip Bayless or a Shannon Sharp, why his podcasts only get 500,000 subscribers, et cetera, et cetera. And he basically talks about what has to go into that. You basically have to sell your soul. I kind of believe that. You have to go to Diddy parties. You have to be part of the Hollywood elite. You have to, go a certain way. And if you don't, even if you say, I'm a Trump supporter, I'm a MAGA guy, and they say, okay, that's fine, but then you have to do things a certain way, and you have to do what we tell you. Now, he is on Blaze. I know Glenn Beck has a lot to do with that. I don't know what Glenn Beck's role is in that. But I noticed that Jason Whitlock only has a podcast. He has a YouTube channel, but he's not on any of the Blaze radio networks, because I listen to Triumph Radio and Sirius XM. And a lot of people that are on that are on Blaze. The Glenn Beck Show is one of them. So you have to wonder, okay, so Jason Whitlock just said, listen, I'd love to be part of that network. I'm just not going to do this. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do this. So maybe they have to give him a short leash, because you never know when they're going to have to let him go. Or Jason Whitlock say, I can't do that. So he also talked about that when you have a character of low moral turpitude, sometimes people can use those things to control you, whether it's alcoholism, sexual addiction, drug usage, propensity to, cheat on your wife and kids, and maybe you have a second wife or girlfriend. I don't know. If you have committed any kind of acts like that, there will always be people that can control you. So we don't know what the Matt Gaetz situation is. And by the way, I keep calling him Matt Gaetz. Matt Gaetz is the spelling that screws me all up. So the other guy that has always alarmed me was Stephen Miller. And Stephen Miller, okay, he just looks weird to me. Like I said, he reminds me of a bald head Pee Wee Herman. But his language, the talk, it sounds like, I know he's America first, but he's always sound like a white nationalist to me, a little clannish to me, skinheadish to me. I don't know. I just never have digested him well. And, but he says a lot of the things that I agree with, but then every now and then he'll say something and I'll go, like, that was a little, like he'll say something about, why is there signs in the airport of both English and Spanish? Or why are the announcements made in school in English and Spanish? And he went to school in Florida, I think, or California, one of the states with a high Hispanic population. He didn't understand why they made announcements on the overhead speakers in Spanish and English. And he just felt that was, I don't know, submitting. Let's get a little background on Stephen Miller. But I do want to say, he's MAGA and he understands the assignment.
The President of the United States is correct 100%.
31-year-old Stephen Miller has emerged as a key player in President Trump's Oval Office, known for crafting some of Trump's most controversial speeches, policies, and executive orders.
We have multiple tools across multiple fronts to ensure that we are preventing terrorist infiltration of our country and to ensure that those who enter our country share our values and support our people.
So what do we know about the young senior policy advisor? Miller grew up in a Jewish family in Santa Monica, California, and for years he's been articulating the kind of nationalist and populist sentiment that fueled Donald Trump's rise. As a student at the diverse Santa Monica High School, Miller wrote a letter to the editor of the Santa Monica Lookout, slamming what he called his school's rampant political correctness. Miller pointed to the school's celebration of Mexican holidays, the absence of the Pledge of Allegiance in classrooms, and the school's use of both Spanish and English for announcements, which he said were demeaning to the immigrant population and ultimately prevented Spanish speakers from standing on their own. After high school, Miller went on to attend Duke University, where he continued to pen opinion pieces and advocate for conservative causes. He was particularly critical of the administration's handling of the Duke lacrosse case, and in his farewell op-ed, Miller wrote that he considered it his job to, quote, do battle with the left. He went on to do just that, moving from Durham to D.C. and taking jobs with conservative lawmakers. He spent 7 years working for Senator Jeff Sessions, who is now Trump's Attorney General.
Donald J. Trump subscribes to the old-fashioned idea that Americans ought to come first in their own country.
Upon joining Trump's campaign in January of 2016, Miller warmed up crowds before rallies, and he was tasked with channeling Trump's populist message into smooth, teleprompted speeches that the candidate could stick to. For example, Miller was behind Trump's speech to a pro-Israel group during the primaries, his acceptance speech at the Republican National Convention, and even his inaugural address. Now, Miller is at the center of the president's orbit, serving as senior policy advisor. He is said to be in charge of crafting controversial executive orders like the so-called immigration ban that's currently held up in courts.
Stephen, the 3 judges say you're flat wrong.
No, the 3 judges made a broad, overreaching statement.
After the Ninth Circuit Appellate Court barred the Trump administration from enforcing its 90-day travel ban on citizens traveling from 7 Muslim-majority countries, Miller was thrust into the spotlight to defend the president.
Our opponents, the media, and the whole world will soon see, as we begin to take further actions, that the powers of the president to protect our country are very substantial and will not be questioned.
They are questioned, my young little
lad.
Miller. They will be questioned by the court. It's called judicial review. And seriously, the White House has got to stop embarrassing themselves by putting this guy out.
While he has received criticism from across the political spectrum, so far, Miller continues to have the backing of his boss, who tweeted, "Congratulations, Stephen Miller, on representing me this morning on the various Sunday morning shows. Great job." For now, it appears the young advisor's work in the White House is just getting started.
Man, before I talk about Stephen Miller, Kellyanne Conway looked worn in those pictures. I see her now on like Fox News, and she looks vibrant. Her skin looks great. There's no bags under her eyes. Looks like she's getting rest. When she worked for Donald Trump, man, whew, she must have been working on tour. And I'm not being sexist. I would say this about a guy too, who looks very worn because of the job that they have, that they're beaten down. They're sleeping 2 or 3 hours a day. They're at every beck and call of the president. Every time they get a rest, their phone's chirping, bleeping, text messages. But I was just looking at those 2 videos, man. She looks so much better today than she did back then. Anyway, but you see all the things about Stephen Miller, about the language in school, and, he's hard to digest. He's very hard to digest, but he is MAGA. He does get the assignment. He's very loyal to Donald Trump, very loyal to America. But I believe I think that he's going to do and say some things in the next 4 years that people just not going to like. They're not going to like. Yeah. So one person who hasn't been selected for a role or position, but he said on the Megyn Kelly show that he will be working closely with the president at the Department of Education, is Charlie Kirk. And if you don't know Charlie Kirk, he goes to college campus. He's with Turning Point USA. I think he found the founder of Turning Point USA. He goes to college campuses and he sets up shop. He does seminars and speeches, but he also sets up on campus under, like a canopy, and he talks to students, puts a microphone up there for them, asks them questions about their voting habits. He played a very, very large role in the youth vote. I think more youth had come out at any time other than in history than since the Reagan administration. And had a very, very high percentage of young people voting because of Charlie Kirk, and people who couldn't vote because they were too young, teenagers in high school, ages 13 to 16, know who Charlie Kirk is. He's on TikTok, he's on Instagram, he's on Snapchat, he's on every social media platform. All the bros know him, all the fraternities, sororities, very popular on the college campus, love him or hate him. And I think because he's played such a large role in getting young people to vote, or at least think about politics for the first time, and young people doing more political commentary on social media. I didn't like the guy for a long time. He's another one I didn't like. Like I said, when you're on the blue side, you're going to hate a lot of MAGA people. You're going to love some rhinos and some straight, status quo Washington Republicans. They're easy to digest because they say all the right things. They're very flowery in their speech. MAGA politicians and MAGA people are not like that. Vivek Ramaswamy is not like that. Elon Musk is not like that. Tom Homan is not like that. As you can see, Stephen Miller is not like that. So MAGA is different. And of course, Donald Trump is not like that. He don't want you to say what sounds good. He wants you to say what's part of the objective. So Charlie Kirk, I really hope that he has a role in government. And if he's not, the head of the Department of Education, at least work very closely with him. Here he is talking about school teachers.
We've invested money in public education over the last 60 years, and our schools are horrendous because the number one metric that matters in education is not class size, it's not funding, it's quality of teacher.
How do you create a quality teacher?
Bingo. How do you do that? You pay good teachers more and you fire bad ones. How do you find bad teachers? You do what the Nordic countries do. You have teachers, grade teachers. And you've seen in Florida, when Florida implemented a voucher system, they were ranked 38th in education. Now the last study shows them 7th. And so the question should not be how to throw more money towards a broken system. It's where is education working in America? Where is it working? Well, there are certain schools that do it really, really, really well, and they do it well for less. And those are charter schools, and those are private schools. And so when you have people waiting outside of the line in the Bronx, black families that wait for days to try to have a chance to get literally a lottery ball to be able to get their kid to go to a charter school, our public education system is a joke and a disaster.
So, yeah, Charlie Kirk has some great ideas about education. I just love that he's making young people think about it. I have a 21-year-old daughter myself. I have an 18-year-old daughter myself, and they don't care about politics at all. And it's kind of weird because I love politics. I watch a lot of politics. So when they're in my car, my 11-year-old gets it. When they're in my car, they're listening to politics. I may not change their minds, but they may, just when they're in my car, they'll pull up their phone and start scrolling on Instagram. I'm not going to go listen to this, but I just figure if it's in the background, maybe something may happen. When I was a child in Philadelphia, we had a channel called KYW News Radio. And it was 24/7, 365 news radio. That's all my father listened to. Right? There was no getting in his car, turning on music. I got in the car and I had to listen to KYW News Radio. In the house, we had a radio on the dining room counter, and it was always on KYW News Radio. Now, did I digest all that stuff? No, but it was feeding into my brain. So later, and I'm talking as early as 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years old, news radio. And this was the 70s. So it was Nixon, Cambodia, Vietnam, Gerald Ford, Jimmy Carter, war, politics. That's all it was in my house and in my dad's car. And I didn't become a politico. It never made me, someone who wanted to listen to it. But since it was always on, it was just part of my life, if that makes sense. What it did to help me with is my grammar, how to speak, wanting to be in media, wanting to be on the radio, wanting to be a DJ or talk show host, because I heard talk so much. My dad didn't even watch sports. He listened to KYW News Radio. We watched All in the Family and the Jeffersons. That was my childhood. But I guess my point is that Charlie Kirk is getting the youth involved by talking about politics and trying to get them involved in politics. And for me, I just think about my childhood, that I just had this open wound and nothing went in it but news radio. So that's why we're here right now. So let's hope Charlie Kirk gets some type of role. All right. So did you know that Donald Trump was elected 47th president of the United States on the night of November 5th? And then that night, something crazy happened. If you watch social media, you'll realize that women across America lost all of their rights.
So apparently overnight, women lost all of our rights. I guess as a woman, overnight, my rights have been stripped away, devastated.
She has no rights as of November 6th. Gone. How'd that happen? I'm being facetious here, but I keep seeing all over Facebook. I've been blocked. I've been unfriended. Women are asking me, how could you vote for him? One girl said, my husband cares about women's rights and cares about me. I've seen women who said they will divorce their husbands, leave their boyfriends. They would join the 4B movement. You know what the 4B movement is? It's a Korean happening going on where women feel that Korea has been misogynistic and against women's rights, and American women have adopted it. And if you voted for Donald Trump, they're part of the 4B movement. No sex, no children, no pregnancy, no dating, no marrying men. They're done. Done with men. All these rights. And then when you say, what rights? You get a whole lot of conjecture or paranoia about what rights they're going to lose. And it usually boils down to reproductive rights. I saw a doctor who said that I've done 10,000 abortions. And he said that 100 of them, less than 100 of them, was due to sexual assault, rape, or threat to the mother's life. I would leave the other 9,900 just arbitrary abortions for convenience. And I'm not a guy who gets on an abortion soapbox, but that's alarming when you hear the statistics like that. So when women say they lost their rights, I'm like, what rights have they lost? Because I want them to be more clear. And you're getting the paranoia and the hysteria, like this.
Oh. Don't tell me. For months.
You notice as I'm leaving the USA and moving to Hawaii? I don't know if that is a joke. I hope it is. But that's what's going on. So men all over social media, they're posting stuff. Like here was Matt Walsh. Now that the election is over, I think we can finally say that, yeah, actually, Project 2025 is the agenda. LOL. He's just joking. But you know what people are doing? See, I told you guys, you Trumpers are gullible. You're naive. You voted for this, and we told you that Project 2025 was a thing. Basically saying, no, you were duped. You were duped. Here's another one. Someone posted this. Starting in January will be the new law for men to dress like this. Women, oh my God. Did you see that tweet from Elijah Schaffer? It's exactly what they want. This is exactly what they want. The one that got the biggest amount of fear was Nick Fuentes. Your body, my choice, forever. Look at that. Almost 94 million views and counting. That was on November 5th. Women have lost their minds. They're sharing it. They're putting it out there. These guys are laughing at you. They're telling jokes. They go, yep, all your rights are gone as of November 6th. They don't believe it. It's not true. But obviously, it's enough to troll women and make them think. Like also, this happened the very next morning.
What's up? Can you just run it again?
Could you come back when you have some money?
Hey man, what's your problem? Just run the car. Forget it. I'll just call from work.
What's your problem?
What?
Fucking sluts, get the fuck out of here.
What did you just say? Excuse me? You just call us fucking sluts? Are you serious, dude? This is your first day or something? What's your name? What's your name, bro?
Come on, get out of here.
Let's go. Come on. He's not worth it. Go. Your coffee fucking sucks. Ass. What's your problem, fuckers?
Yep. You won't even be able to go into a coffee shop. You've lost that right. And if you go to work on November 6th and after, this may happen.
Folks, ladies, gentlemen, folks, may I have your attention, please? Ladies, you should all know that I feel really sorry about this.
Oh, shit.
It isn't my decision. I don't have a choice. I have to let you go. What? I have to let you all go.
Wait, we're being fired?
No, not fired. No, let go.
What does that even mean?
You can't work here anymore. It's the law now.
Roger, what law?
I don't have a choice. They gave me 10 minutes. Please, just pack up your things.
This is outrageous.
Hey, why is it just the women?
I don't have a choice.
Roger.
So, yeah, that's what it seems like the paranoia is, that women's rights. You won't be able to walk down the streets. It'll be Jim Crow for women. Women's only water fountains. Sitting in backs of buses. Civil rights movement all over again. Jim Crow. Women not being allowed to work. Women not being able to have credit or buy homes without their husbands. There used to be a time that was truth, that women couldn't buy a home without their husbands. You couldn't buy a car or have credit. But since Donald Trump's been elected on November 5th, 2024, all that's coming back, right? Let's just be honest. It all comes down to reproductive rights, which is a story for another day. Again, I don't know whether to laugh or cry or just. I have a wife. I have daughters, and I care about their future. I wouldn't put them in harm's way. But some people are telling me, all right, voting for Donald Trump, I hope your daughter never gets raped. I would hope my daughter never got raped, whether Donald Trump was in office or not. Saying I hope my daughter never have an unwanted pregnancy is a totally different situation than I hope your daughter's never raped, or I hope your daughter doesn't have to lose her life because of pregnancy or something like that. Well, me too. But I don't care who's in office. We don't wish that on our children. And for you people to even say things like that to people, as a man speaketh, you've heard it. All right, guys, that's all I got. I wish you all well, and I'll see you on the next podcast. We are going to talk about DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency. I just got to get all my facts together, my thoughts, and then we'll be back to talk about that. Other than that, peace.